Hi friends. So in this video, I would like to talk about the canceling out effect. And I heard a lot from my parents when I was growing up, and one of my parents who I don't speak to anymore, he sends people to remind me of the things he did for me as a child and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but when I actually needed you to be there, you were busy parenting other people's kids, and there's proof in the pudding for that as well. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about the canceling out effect. This video is about the fact that once you're a parent, you're always a parent. And your main goal, your main focus should always be your child and the good outcomes of your child. How you should always be thinking about how your actions would affect your children in every instance. So, case in point, what I never understood with men, and especially men who spoil their daughters and their sons, men who spoil their children. I wonder what you were thinking. Just a question. This is not me being negative or anything like that. I wonder if you realize that the effect that you would have on your children would be deleterious in the following years. And once again, I don't mean to step on toes, but I do need to say certain things, and this is not to lower your vibration. This is to help the younger people to think before they actually impregnate somebody. If you don't have the capacity to truly love a person, please don't have a baby with them, because the baby will automatically take on all of the stress, the strife, and the emotional labor that you were supposed to take on as a partner. And this is the canceling out effect. No matter what you do for that child, no matter how much you help that child, no matter how much you iron panties and iron, I'm sure when they were children, no matter how much you did their hair, I don't care what it is. There will be a time when you will think that, okay, I don't have to do this anymore. I won't have to be. That's not parenting. You were never a parent. You were a stand-in. That's basically all you were. You were never a parent. What you were was somebody who was doing it just because it was for show, or the child is cute, I can take her out and I can market her. I can use her to help me to get jobs and more money. This child is working for me. That's basically a mentality when you have children. And then when the child gets older, you find another young, cute child to do the same thing with. And it's a very weird situation. Children are not bargaining chips. Children are human beings that you have to raise. And if your intention is not to be a parent for the rest of your days on this earth, alive and well, you should not have kids. It's not the smartest decision to make, not for a parent. And so the canceling out effect, in my opinion, is simply you doing everything that you could when the child is young, and then deciding that, okay, I don't have to do this anymore when the child gets old. I will comment on this though. Women, if men do not want children, I said this before, if they do not want children, listen to them. Because the only person, if you don't listen to them, the only person who will suffer is not just you, it's that child. You are now making decisions that will put that child's mental health, emotional health, psychological health in jeopardy because you chose not to listen. Listen to these men the first time. Listen to these men the first time. And when I say that child's emotional, psychological, and their health will be put in danger, I mean that when you stress that woman out, that child gets stressed out too. When you stress that woman out, she gets harder, and she goes harder on that child. A child has more discipline, has to have more angst, more anxiety. That child has to develop an anxious disorders and nervous disorders, not neurological, nervous disorders, in order to compensate for the stress that you give that parent. And so I lived this. That's my qualification. I lived this. So I'm just saying, if you're in the business of doing this, please think before you act. There's blame to be had on both sides, but I will ask that you think before you act. But yeah, that's the canceling out effect in my opinion. Hope this helps.